we are doing part 2 of, talking out how to not be a victim.
With somebody that has an addictive behavior.
Yeah, some sort of, if you've got a partner that's going through something, and how to not get stuck. And it isn't easy. Look, this is not easy subject at all. But it's really a matter of, committing to yourself that you're not going to let yourself stay stuck in something. And, what if you got little kids? What if you got,
right.
What if you have no money? What if you have been
What if you
sick?
have nowhere to go?
Yeah. What if you have no family, no
right?
resources?
Yeah. So and what if you're with a partner or, a situation where they don't want to change. They don't want anything messed, they're happy with,
Yep.
They're not in a remorseful place.
Yeah.
So they think, well, I'm fine with this. You don't like it, you go, but you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
How do you still see that person every day, knowing, because this I think goes back, Camille, of not being the victim. You look at them and you think, you hurt me. You hurt my family. I see your behaviors and it hurts. It's always reminding me that I'm hurt. How do you help these people that can't go somewhere deal with that?
It's almost literally, and I had a discussion with a woman this way. There have been 17 years. He was abusive, violent, physically abusive. Not now, but he was in the early stages. And they've got 4 children, and she never has worked. She didn't even have a credit score till this year, literally. So, and she's bitter and she's angry, and they're finally coming in for counseling, and he's desperate to keep her. He doesn't want to lose her. And he gambled, and he was a drinker, and all that stuff happened. He cheated. I mean, all this stuff. And she's so mad, and she just hates him, and she's at war. I mean, he says, please do this. I'm not doing that. It's like F you, everything.
Oh, so she's punishing.
She's punishing him. Okay. She's punishing him. Now, and so we're at a stalemate. And so how long can this go on? Forever. She can punish him forever. And she's entitled to, right? And he can leave, she can leave, but they're kind of he doesn't want to leave. He knows he was wrong. He feels horribly guilty for harming her, yet he's trying to make it up. And he is doing things to make it up. And she's not letting him in. She doesn't want to let him in. So it's either, okay, well, what do you want? Do you want to leave? Do you want a divorce? Let's create that. She doesn't want that. Well, what do you, I just want to beat him up. Well, that's going to not work forever, honey. Because until she says, I'm done being the victim, and I mean inside of herself, right? Because he's not hurting her anymore. Yet she's got memories. It's like a wounded animal, that was kicked, and so the dog's gonna bite because it's been beaten. But it's almost like for a human being, you've got to decide at some point inside of yourself somewhere, okay, I'm done being the victim. I'm not going to be the victim anymore. But that means you also got to change, and you have to see. I tolerated, because she did. She stayed 17 years with this. And that doesn't mean she said it's okay. That doesn't mean she liked it. I'm not suggesting any of that. But I am looking at her saying, well, what do you want to do now? You want to leave him? You can leave. And then she's still bitter and angry and leaves and walks away from finances and walks away from all these things. And her children, she could have an empire here. She wants to let go of the anger and the hatred and the resentment. I understand that. But she has to stop feeling like the victim. She's got to quit being the victim. So beat him up. Write a letter. Tell him off. What do you got to do, girl? Let's create a strategy to get this little story and the tears out of you, because you have literally got to quit seeing yourself as a victim now. You're no longer the victim now. And that's the whole thing, is you can actually say, I'm done being harmed. And I don't think he'll ever hurt her again. She won't let him. Trust me. She's a tornado now. However, she's got to quit seeing that story, reliving the story over and over and over. That's the therapy, is you've got to quit living as a victim.
Well, and I think when you can get to a point that you decide,
Yes.
I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Yes.
I can't change what happened, but I don't want to feel this way anymore. So what do I need to do so I don't feel this way? And like you said, maybe it's 2 weeks of just being a total bitch. I don't know. But there's plenty of people that have been through trauma, been through abuse, and maybe they're not around that person anymore, but they still carry that feeling with them, and that person is still in control of their life.
Right.
Do you want that person to still have that kind of control over you? You get to decide, especially if it's done with.
Yes. And it's been done with for a while, but I think she's mad at herself, because now she looks back and she says, how could I let myself go through that? Why didn't I fight back? Why didn't I leave? And that probably is the secret sauce here. And because she allowed herself to be victimized. Now, back then, I don't know how many other choices she had. She was a young woman when she got married, 20.
Camille, when you're talking about when you're talking about people, especially those that are
in a victim situation.
They are. There is, yeah, I can understand there's a sense of guilt in that they didn't stand up for themselves, or they didn't stand up for their children, or whatever the situation might be.
Yeah.
And it has passed and it's done. Or maybe that person, is not in their life anymore, but they're still holding on to these feelings.
Yeah.
How do you help them through that?
Well, and this is a lot of clients I see. They're still wounded by something from their past. Well, first of all, they have to recognize that people are human beings. And even like this lady, her husband is a human being. He was early 20s when he was being a bully as well. And he has owned it. He's apologized. He's apologized I don't know how many times. He's bought her new rings. He's trying to make up. It's almost like you have to allow that person back into the trusting space, which is scary, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that everyone can do that. People that have had past trauma, you're not going to allow them into your trusting space. But even like for myself, when I had a kidnapper, I had to really get into the mindset of a kidnapper. I had to look at that person as a human being and say, what was he going through? I had to make it right. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I had to look at his situation in his mind and go, what was his perspective? What did he see in me? And I was this innocent little yellow-haired, just skipping, singing, going to kindergarten, and I was the solution to his pain. So I can see, and it took that, honestly, for me to get over it, frankly. And I think he saw me before I knew me. He knew that I could help him in a way. Crazy. I know it sounds crazy. I consider him metaphorically my first client. Weird.
But the point is, you had to get to a place that you felt like, okay,
I'm sick of
this isn't about me.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
This happened, and I want it to be done. I want to clear it, and I want to be done. Because the truth is, it may have never bothered him for the rest of his life.
Right.
But it did affect you.
Affect me.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the case with anything that we go through that has to do with some sort of hurt.
But you have to depersonalize it. Look, as long as I'm personalizing it, I'm hurting. I made it about me. He did it to me. He's hurting me. This is a hurt human being. This husband, with my client, he hurt me. Yes, he did. And he's hurting. And you look at what causes him to hurt. His abusive childhood, whatever. Again, I'm not excusing it. Right. But he's looking at, he's got his own demons he's dealing with. And she's safe. This all that happened. She's got to not make it about her. She's got to quit personalizing it.
Well, y'all, and the truth is, this is hard to hear, but the truth is, you will never find happiness in revenge for somebody else. You just won't find your peace there. And the only way to really be happy and to breathe with ease and to have a healthy body, all of these things is you just have to let go of things. You have to process.
Yes.
You have to process. You can't just turn a blind eye and feel okay, because deep down inside you haven't dealt with it. Yeah. And if you think about it, some things maybe that we experienced during childhood that we've grown into an adult, and we're like, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know if I feel this way. You got to think about it. You got to take it back. You need help like what you do to help people find what's causing this. Yeah. What is causing this? Just like I think you'll agree with this too, anybody that's abusive or that has addictive behaviors, there's a reason why they lean towards that or they do that.
That's right. Well, and again, if they're able to be honest and they can work it through, great. And some people are so damaged they can't get better, but those are the people we stay away from, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's going to take you saying, I'm going to self-care, I'm going to self-advocate, and you have to look at, there are crazy people out there, and you can't hate a snake because it bites. It's their nature, okay? You don't personalize that. You just have to see it for what it is. Like that guy that hurt me, he was damaged. He was hurting. I happen to be in the space. Now, what did I learn from that? A lot. And I've got value out of that, by the way. And I think if we can let the lesson happen, we can choose to learn from it. We don't have to hurt from it. We can stop the cycle. But you have to realize that that happened maybe for you, not to you. And it takes time to get there. It sure does. But you don't ever have to feel like a victim again.
And I think that, y'all, that's where your power comes in. When you actually recognize your own worth, your own value, regardless of whatever action has come to you, it still doesn't take away your value and your worth. Even if you allowed it to happen, even if you enabled, it doesn't matter, because today, right now, is where you feel. Yeah. If you're feeling from the past, then you're not moving forward. You're just holding on to that, and that isn't freedom.
No. And you deserve freedom.
Yeah.
So freedom is when you really can accept Like there's no more resistance to what happened. You see it for what it is. It doesn't pinch. You know, if you had a horrible court battle and you drive past the court, you know, you might go, mood drop. Yeah, but it's not going to take my day away. I'm not going to stop living today. It's over. Yeah.
It's over.
I'm complete.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may have to have 10 different discussions about what happened and process it 10 different ways, different times. But commit to that. Like, get the poison out of your system. Tell the truth faster about it. Don't be embarrassed about the feelings. The feelings just are. That's just the infection. That's just the emotional infection, right? You get that out of there and you heal it. You heal the wound. Ask for help. Talk it through. Don't sit in being a victim. And then don't pretend that you're not a victim either. That's even worse because you're in denial that you were a victim.
Right.
You go from being a victim to now you understand. And when you understand, you can let it go.
You know, I think one more thing, Camille, that's important to know is you're not being selfish to want to get better.
That's right.
Whether you're the victim or the person doing it, you're not being selfish if you want to get better. And if you say to that person who hurt you, you know what, I'm just going to take some time and I'm going to work on me, or I'm going to get to a space that I feel better, I feel good about, whatever it was, you don't need to take on the guilt for doing that. Because the truth is, I know we've talked about this before, you know, your glass has water in it, but there's still all that space that's left. If you're expecting that person to fill that up, they're going to let you down every time.
That's right.
If you learn how to fill that glass up yourself, and then everything that's overflowing, that's what you give to somebody else.
That's right.
And so if you're expecting, maybe there's a new person in your life and you're wanting them to take over and fill up that gap that last person didn't do, it's not their job. It's not their responsibility, you know.
Well, and one more thing. I mean, if you haven't healed these wounds, you're going to take it out on the next person. Okay, this is what happens. This is why
that's why it's called baggage.
Yeah, and this is probably why you got wounded to begin with. I mean, whoever hurt, you know, like this little couple I've got, he got hurt by his family. He took it out on his wife, you know, and she got hurt by her family, so she's used to things being taken out on her. Like, this is just how, you know, it all rolls downhill, right? So this is why you want to stop and process your pain and take a break from each other so that you don't keep reenacting the same crime, so to speak. Yes, you want to end the cycle.
Yeah.
And you end the cycle by healing yourself. And again, no longer declaring yourself, I'm a victim, I'm wounded, I'm hurt. That's a temporary state of mind. You don't have to be that your whole life.
Right. You deserve your own happiness.
Yeah.
Regardless of how anybody acts, regardless of whatever has happened to you, remember the past is the past.
Yeah.
Right? And so your own healing starts with how you are right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Make a decision. Do I want to continue to feel this way? Do I want to continue to have anger and you know, terrible feelings about something that's happened to me, whether it's through that person or that circumstance or that natural disaster that happened, whatever it might be, you get to decide, how do I want to feel moving forward? If I don't like how I feel right now, what can I do? What are my tools to feel better on my own? I'm filling up that whole glass all by myself. All by myself, meaning not another human. You can pray to God. You can do all that you want to do.
That's right.
But if you're asking that other person, I need you to fix me. I need you to fix how I feel. I need you to love me so much that I don't think about that anymore.
Doesn't work. It's
not gonna last.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but give Camille a call if you think that maybe you could use some help. She is excellent at what she does. But we appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you next time with Starting Over.
Bye now.